How's it going, everyone? My name's Aiden. Welcome back. Today's day 281 in Post Back on his channel. Back in the journey once again. Hopefully, you all are having such a great Thursday today and another day in the week. Of course, we are back one more day until the weekend, so let's keep on pushing through. We keep on going. But with that being said, today's message that I want to talk about is you do not need a new life. You just might need some new lenses. Before we get into today's message, let's talk about the day real quick. Didn't really do anything other than go to the gym. I had a class tonight as well. Sometimes I just kind of forget whether or not I had class. Um, I just got home not too long ago. The only thing I really look forward to is playing Fortnite. I'm almost in Unreal rank, so that's something to really look forward to. But yeah, back to today's message. Sometimes you don't need a new life. You just got to get a new pair of lenses. Sometimes it's the way how you look at life instead of the way how you do it. I feel like the first way to really shift a perspective is if you, well, look at it differently. I think in life, it is really awesome to switch perspectives. And sometimes you don't have to switch perspective just to, show a point, just to prove a point. You do it because you want to adapt to a new environment. You want to kind of live in, a new pair of shoes, pretty much. And kind of the way how you do it is, well, I mean, take it from me. I think I've done a lot of these days where I've tried to like shift my perspective on things, and pretty much I take a break from what it is I'm doing right now, and then I really kind of think about, I analyze what I want to change. Based off of what I want to change, you know, I just take a look and I'm like, well, there's this way to do it, and there's this way to do it, and there's this way to do it. So let's kind of shift the perspective to all three of these new different directions. Let's kind of look at it. Let's see how that kind of formulates and how that is able to grow. Once I kind of know what I am, looking for, like a personal preference, you know, I just go with it. And I think you don't really know how much it can change unless if you actually go through and do it. And that's what's pretty beautiful about life, is that you can do things in so many different ways to make your life enjoyable. It doesn't always have to be the same way, same route, that you've been doing everything else in your whole entire life. So really, I think it's a great thing to shift your perspective on things. You know, trying to become successful, you can do it in this way. Okay, try it this way. You want to give yourself a challenge, try doing it this way and this way. And that just kind of shows you also that you're able to, you know, do things in multiple different ways. And that's like a skill to have, because not a lot of people can do that. Sometimes they just stick to one, schedule, and that's all that they can do, and that's all they can run from, or all they can just kind of like go off from. And that's okay too. But when you're able to kind of like divulge, or just kind of go into different ways of doing things, it makes you look unique. Like, people really notice it, and they're like, wow, like he's able to do this in multiple ways. Like, how does he do it? And I guess if we take this from, to like a personal connection, I guess I've tried to understand people in a lot of different ways. So I've, tried to shift my perspective. Sure, I know everyone does not have the same life, and everybody does their own thing in their own way. But like, when somebody tells me about something and they're like, oh, like this is how I do it, I try it. For example, the gym. People tell me about their schedules that they do, and honestly, like based off of what they say, like I'll go off that. I'll see how it works for me. And if it works, I'll try to implement it in some way. And if it doesn't, then I know not to do it again. You know? Sometimes it's just going to be based off of perspective, is going to be based off the point of view that somebody sees it or the way somebody does it. And honestly, that might be a better fit for you than what you're doing right now. So sometimes switch it up a little bit. There's really no harm in doing that. But with that being said, guys, hope you all have such a great rest of the evening. And remember to take care of yourself, use every matter, and I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.